All right. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to discuss another interesting topic to me, which is about copyrights. And so today I just want to take some time to discuss how to register your own copyright. And so what we'll be discussing is what exactly does a copyright cover, walking through how to complete a copyright application, and then discussing what that timeline afterwards looks like. I really want you guys to know how to file your own application, understand the questions that they're asking in the application, and what details you need to provide. When we're looking at a copyright application versus a trademark application, I think that a copyright application does ask a little bit more tricky questions. However, the review process is very much more straightforward than a trademark application is. And so I definitely think it's something you can do on your own. A trademark application, I don't even recommend at all that people do on their own just because they are reviewed by actual attorneys. Um, and the copyright application is a little bit more straightforward, and the review process is a little bit more streamlined. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right in. All right. So how to register your own copyright. What is a copyright? So it's important to know what a copyright is because you need to know before you file anything if a copyright is the appropriate tool to protect whatever it is you're trying to protect. What you're trying to protect may not be what is protected with the copyright. I have a lot of people who come to me saying, "Oh, I need to copyright my logo or I need to copyright my business name." And 9 times out of 10, the logo that they want to copyright cannot be copyrighted. It actually needs to be trademarked. And you cannot copyright a business name at all. You have to trademark a business name. So I really wanted to go through what a copyright is and what it's used to protect so that we can make sure before we even get started that a copyright is what you need to protect your creative piece of work. So, a copyright is a form of intellectual property used to protect original works of authorship, literary, graphic, and visual art, poetry, lyrics, books, photographs, videos, graphic designs, computer software, architecture, and even architecture designs, audio recordings such as podcasts or songs, and even e-course content. So today, right, the actual slides that we're going through, that is an original work of authorship. I could absolutely copyright the slides themselves. And then I can also copyright this audio or video recording, right? Because that is a creative work in itself. And so those are just two examples of things that you can copyright. Where do I register my copyright? So, you probably like many other people, when you were first looking to protect whatever it is you're seeking to protect, you went to Google, right? And you typed in like, how do I register copyright? Or how do I prevent someone from stealing this or from copying me, something like that. And a bunch of ads probably came up with information. And so I really highlight that because when you're looking to register your copyright, like if you go to Google, register my copyright, there are going to be ads that pop up. And I don't want you to get confused and think that by selecting one of those ads, you're actually selecting someone to, or you're actually registering your copyright yourself. What that means is that you are actually hiring those people, whoever have those ads, to submit the copyright application for you. If you do not submit the copyright application directly with the copyright.gov, then that means you're paying someone else to do it because that's the only website that you can file your copyright on. Anything else is not correct. So copyrights are governed by the United States Copyright Office. This is a federal government office. The same with trademarks and patents. Copyrights are governed by the federal government. If the website does not end in a .gov, right, .gov, that means it's not a government entity, or I won't say that it means it's not a government entity, but that's not where you want to go to file your copyright. The Copyright Office ends in a .gov website. So the first step is to go to www.copyright.gov. When you go to the copyright.gov website, it's going to take you to the main home screen. Now at the top, right, there's going to be these tabs with different words. You're going to select the tab that says registration. So it should say registration. And when you click on the registration tab, there's going to be this little sub box that comes up. And in that sub box, you're going to look on top to the left, and it's going to say register your work, registration portal. And that is the link you want to click on, because you want to register your work and go to the registration portal in order to do so. Now, once you select this option, register your work, registration portal, you're going to scroll down that page. It's about a quarter to about a halfway down the page. And there is a blue button in the center, and it's a long button. It says log into the electronic copyright office, parentheses, ECO, in parentheses, registration system. That is the button you're going to select. And this button will then take you to a login page. So once you select this like long horizontal blue button, it takes you to a new page, and it's white. And then in the middle of the white page, in small font, in a little button, it's going to say log into ECO. You're going to select this. Now, I know what you may be thinking. You're probably like, okay, well, I don't have any login information yet. So how am I going to log into this system? It's okay. They're getting ready to prompt you to make an account if you don't already have one. So don't worry. Now, once you have selected log into ECO, it's going to take you to a new page. This page is going to be white, and then off to the left-hand side, you're going to see a panel with like a place for login, username, and password. Underneath that, you're going to see the words, if you are a new user, click here to register. So it's under the username and password, and then there's small words right below it, and you should see, if you are a new user, click here to register. That is what you will select. So once you select that, you're going to go ahead and make your account and then log into your portal. Once you are logged into the portal, this is the page you'll see. It'll say register a work, other registration options, other services, miscellaneous, and that's, I'm looking off to the left-hand panel where the arrows are pointing. And so I want to talk to you about the two different types of applications. So where it says register a work, the standard application, this application is going to be used to copyright one item, right? So one book, one song, one poem, one photograph, things like that. That is your standard application. Where it says other registration options, this should be considered if you have some sort of like a portfolio, you will, of items that you want to protect. Maybe you have 3 to 10 photographs you want to protect, or 2 songs you want to protect, or maybe you have multiple modules for this e-course that you have and you want to protect each module. That's completely fine. You can use this. If you have a group of unpublished work, you're going to select the option under other registration options that says register a group of unpublished works. The second arrow on the screen is pretty much pointing to register a group of unpublished works, because most people are going to be registering something that is unpublished, meaning that it hasn't been sold to the public yet. It doesn't mean that you haven't like advertised it or that you don't have it posted for the public to see, but that really you haven't sold it to the public yet. So you're going to select register a group of unpublished works if that's you, right? It's something that has not been published yet, and you want to do more than one, right? So you want to do 5 or 6. The maximum on one application is 10. So you can register a group of unpublished works, and you can do up to 10 on one application. So if you have an e-course, you could register up to 10 like of the modules on one application. Or if you write songs, you could do up to 10 song lyrics on one application. This does help to alleviate the cost so that you're not paying for separate applications for each item, right? You can kind of group them together on one application to help save money. Quick tip, choose the option that best suits your needs. So if you're going to do one item, do the standard application. If you're going to do more than one item, you need to do the group. Whether it's going to be published or unpublished works, you'll know better. Now, it's important to note that the items that you publish on, I'm sorry, not publish, but that you register on the group application for unpublished works must be of the same kind. So I can't do 1 photo, 2 videos, 3 podcast recordings, and 2 e-course modules, right? They have to be of the same kind. So 10 photos, 10 ebooks, 10 videos, etc. The average cost for registering a standard application, which is just one item, is about $69, while the average cost for registering a group of pieces, 2 to 10, is $89. Could be more, could be less, but these are the average costs. So yeah, so that is what you're going to be doing. Okay, so let's start the application. So once we are on this page and we select, standard application or register a group of published work, whatever we decide, that's what we're going to select. And it takes us to this page. And so it pretty much gives you some things that you need to know ahead of time that you need to have for the application, you need to have prepared. And once you read through these, then you can start the registration. I selected for us to go through the standard application. So this would just be one piece of work. And so it says standard application. So that's why you'll notice on here, if it says the standard application may be used to register one work, including one collective work or one derivative work. To register the following types of work, please return to the home screen. If you're going to do 2 or more unpublished works, return to the home screen and you'll need to choose register a group of unpublished works, which is what that second arrow was just pointing to on the last page. If you're going to do 2 or more photographs, return to the home screen and select register a group of photographs. 2 or more issues of a serial, newspaper, newsletter, or 2 or more contributions that were published in a periodical, return to the home screen and select register certain groups of published works. So they really try to give you as much information as possible to help you with this process so that you're not super confused. But once again, the standard application is going to be used to register one work. It does say collective work, right? So maybe I have like the title of like my collective group of items is called the Legal Queen Academy. And then I want to protect all of the Legal Queen Academy course materials. I could do that as one collective work. However, I could also take the option to protect each of the modules within my course separately. So on to the next. After we select start registration, we'll be prompted to go to the next page, which will be the start of the application itself. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to let them know the type of work that we seek to register. So this page is called type of work. You'll notice that in the center of the page, there is a drop-down arrow, and you'll select the drop-down arrow to view these different types of items that it lets us choose from. So a literary work would be something like a book or an ebook, right? Or it could be like poems, or it could be song lyrics, things like that. Work of visual arts, that could include your graphic designs, your sound recordings, that can be podcast audio recordings, that can be actual like songs, right, that musicians record, things like that. Maybe it's like the actual voice of a cartoon or something like that. You can also do a work of the performing arts. So the guy who choreographed Beyonce's, I believe it's from the Single Ladies video, he actually copyrighted his work. So that would fall under work of the performing arts. A motion picture or an AV work, audio visual work. So motion picture, a movie, right? Like what's a really popular movie? Forrest Gump, right? If we're going to protect the entire motion picture itself, we can do that. Maybe it's a short film or just like a video recording like this right here, audio video, we can elect to protect that as well. Or it's a single series serial issue. So you'll essentially just select the best option that works for you. The tip here says you need to select continue at the top of each page in order to move on to the next page. Pressing the save for later button will exit out of the application and save it for later. So once you select the type of work, you'll select it within that drop-down menu. Then you will press continue. All right, so after we have selected the type of work, now we're going to select what the title of the project is. Now, if you are doing an application for a group of works, right, you need to select a title for each piece of work. If you're just doing the standard application for one piece, you just need to select the name for that one piece. So where it says new in the middle of the page, you're going to select that. And then you're going to enter the title, the type of title. So once you press new, it'll take you to another page, and then it says the type of title. So you're going to need to select, is this the title of your work? Is this the title of the series, right? Like what exactly is the name of this title? If you're just doing one piece, it's probably just going to be the name of that, the title of that piece of work, but you'll click the option that best suits what it is that you have. And then you'll actually enter the name of the work. And then you'll also type in like when it was created, and then you'll press save. And once you press save, it brings you back to the page that's in front of us. And then right under where it says like all titles, then your title will be listed there. And then once you're done on this page, you'll press continue. So if you are registering more than one piece of work, once again, you need to do a like press new and insert the title and type of title for each piece of project that you're trying to copyright. And then if it's just one item that you're copywriting, you just need to insert the one title. Publication/completion. So a work is considered to be published as there has been an offering to distribute copies to a group of persons for purposes of further distribution into public performance or public display. A public performance or display does not by itself constitute publications, right? So maybe you have put something on your website, but you haven't necessarily started to distribute this item to the public, right? Then that doesn't necessarily mean that it's published yet. If you select no, right, that means that you have not already published this work or the work hasn't been published. Then you'll just enter the year that you completed the finished product, and you don't have to worry about entering a pre-registration number unless you have one. That is just optional. It's not mandatory at all. A pre-registration number would be maybe you started the work of trying to pre-register your item before it was fully completed, because you do have to submit whatever it is you're trying to copyright. You need to submit that item at the end of this application. And so if you had a pre-registration number, it means that you started work to protect this item before it was completed. And so you have a pre-registration number. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. Doesn't apply, let it fly. All right, author information. And so it takes you to the page that is on top. And on this page, once again, you'll select the button that says new, but you also have the option to select the button that says add me. So your author is really the person that has created the piece that you're trying to register. Sometimes people are seeking to create or seeking to register things that they did not necessarily create. So they may not be the author, but they definitely have permission from the author in order to copyright this item. And that's completely fine as well. So if you are the actual author, you can select add me, and it'll go ahead and pop in your name, phone number, and mailing address for you. Or you can select new, and you can manually type in your name, address, phone number, things like that. Now, if there is more than one owner, that's completely fine, but you need to, once again, once you have selected the information for the first person, you press save, and then it takes you back to the screen that's on top, and you'll press new to type in the second person's information. And then once you've typed in their information, you press save, and you keep repeating that until you have finished entering the information for all of the authors, because there can absolutely be more than one. And once you have finished entering all that information, you'll select continue, and continue will take us on to the next page. So the next page is called the claimant. So the claimant is the person basically who is claiming ownership of this copyright. Once again, I stated that you do not have to be the original author or creator in order to seek ownership of it, right? Maybe the author was someone who was hired to do something for you, but you signed a contract saying that you are the actual owner of this. So for example, you hired someone to create a logo for you, but in the contract, it says that once you have made payment and you have received the item, then you become the owner with copyrightable ownership or copyright ownership of the item, something like that. So you would actually be the claimant. You may not be the author, but you are the claimant. And so your information will go here. Now, if you are the author, right, you created the work and you're also seeking ownership of it, then you enter your information here as well. You're the author and the claimant. The tip is if you are the creator of the work and are currently applying for copyright ownership, then you are the claimant as well as the author. So the next page, limitation of claim. If you do not want to decrease the ownership protection that you are seeking, then you can skip over the questions and just select continue at the top of the page. Limitation of claim is really what's used to decrease the amount of ownership that you're requesting within your document or within what it is that you're trying to protect. Maybe your song or your audio recording, and this did happen a lot with YouTube videos before they got super strict on their copyright information. You used to be able to kind of just add in whatever song you wanted to add in the beginning of the video. And then you started having these issues with copyright, right? Because someone has actually copyrighted that song. Maybe it was a Drake or Rihanna song, and someone's actually the copyright owner of that song or of the lyrics. And then you put that onto your YouTube video in the intro, and then you created your own YouTube video that's like has nothing to do with music videos or anything like that. You just like the tune and you wanted to add in the beginning of your video. Now the time comes for you to actually try to copyright your YouTube video, and you need to now add in a limitation of claim because at the beginning of your YouTube video, there's a song playing that does not actually belong to you. And you want to make sure that they know that you're not claiming ownership of that part of your video. Rather, you're only claiming ownership of the part that just involves you talking. So that will be an example of a limitation of claim. You're still claiming ownership of the part that it's all you. However, you do want to limit your claim to not include the areas that you didn't necessarily create yourself. And so that can be done here as well. Or maybe you're now like trademarking a bigger piece of work that includes one piece that had already been trademarked. So maybe you have like a portfolio of paintings or photographs, and you had initially copyrighted one of those pieces on its own, but now you want to copyright that piece as a group or as an individual part of a group of other pieces. That's fine. And you'll just limit the claim, right? And so you'll let them know that part of what you are seeking copyright protection of has already been copyrighted. Rights and permissions. What does this mean and why is it important? So rights and permissions, pretty much as we stated, a copyright is a form of intellectual property. So that's a form of something that you can own, right? So when we're talking about rights and ownerships, that's pretty like a crucial part of copyrights because you want to make sure that you have good, solid ownership of what you are seeking to protect or what you have protected, and that you know how to allow others to utilize what you are protecting. So on this page, the Copyright Office pretty much just asks you to insert the information of where you can be contacted if someone wants to use the work that you have copyrighted or something like that. For example, in movies, right, when we go to the movie theater, wow, I almost forgot the name because it's been so long since I've been to one of those things, but a movie theater. And just think like, in the movies when they would always talk about like the future and how probably people didn't even go to movie theaters anymore. That's probably what we're moving to. That's so crazy. Okay, back on topic. In movies, they use a lot of popular songs. They actually have to get copyright permission to use those songs. So that's why at the end of the movie, when they give the credits, right, they state the name of the song, who the artist is, who probably like the label, the record label, or when it was released, or whatever the case may be, things like that, because they had to get permission to use it, and they have to give credit to whoever the owner is, so that people know that they are not the owner of that music or the creator of that music. And so your rights and permission page is really to give the information for the person that's going to own this copyright, or the person or office that can be contacted if someone wants to use something that you've already copyrighted. Okay, so once you've entered that, you'll press continue at the top of the page. That brings us to the next page. The next page is called Correspondent. The correspondent is the person that the Copyright Office will contact if it has questions about the application. Now, this is different from rights and permissions because the rights and permissions information, like the name and address you put down, is who other people contact if they want to use the copyright. Whereas the correspondent information is specifically who the Copyright Office will contact if it has questions about this application. So when people hire me to do their copyright applications, I will be the correspondent, but as far as rights and permissions, then they hold on to that and people will contact them directly to use that. So for here, for correspondent, you'll go ahead and put your information or your business's information, right? And so that's basically where they can call to get more clarity or anything they may need as it pertains to this application to make sure that it can get processed and registered rapidly. Once you have entered the name, the address, email address, city, state, zip code, and country, you'll press continue to move on to the next page. Once again, you'll have the option to choose add me here where they'll pop in your information. And you also have the option to choose save for later, which will cause the application to exit out and will literally save it for a later date. So mail certificate, this is the next page. This is going to be the person and the address to whom your certificate will be mailed. So once you become a fully registered copyright, they will mail you a certificate. And so in this page, you're giving them who the certificate should go to and what address it should be sent to. So that is what goes here. If you feel like you're going to be moving soon, I would suggest maybe getting like a PO box to put in here, or a virtual office address so that you won't miss out on the certificate because this is where they'll mail it. The next page asks about special filing. And so special filing really only occurs in a few instances, and it says it on that page. One, you'll select special filing if you're currently involved in a copyright infringement situation, which means that someone is infringing on your ownership of something, right? So maybe you created like blogs and someone has just been like releasing them and using them as their own. Now you've never like actually started the copyright process, but you still are the true creator of it, which means that you do have some sort of copyright protection. It's definitely not as strong as if you have registered the copyright with the U.S. Copyright Office, but as a creator, you still have a higher claim to it. And so you would select special filing if that's the case. And I'm specifically referring to copyright infringement, where someone is using one of your pieces of work, which you haven't yet copyrighted, and so you're trying to copyright now to have rights to enforce against them. Other things that calls for special filing is there's a pending or open lawsuit or litigation. And then the final is that there's a quick publication deadline that you're trying to meet a printing or publication deadline, and you need to hurry up and get this copyrighted in order to meet that deadline. Those are the three things that special filing applies to. And if this is not you, right? If it doesn't apply, let it fly. If this is not you, simply click continue at the top of that page to move on to the next page. You do not need to click on the special filing page. Like the last question is, are you like the true and accurate author or owner or whatever? You don't need to select that. If you're not selecting anything else on that special filing page, you don't need to worry about that. I know it's not in like the same line of those questions. It's a little off to the side. You don't need to select it if you're not selecting anything else on that page. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. Certification. Certification is the page after the special filing page. And you are simply certifying that all the information provided in the application is true to your knowledge. It'll tell you like you will be fined up to X amount of money if they found that you have lied or provided false information in this application. So you just really want to make sure that it's true and accurate and free from error. Maybe you misspelled a name or put the wrong date or something. You just want to review all of your information that you inserted and make sure that it's true and accurate. so that you can be free from error in your application. Next up, after the certification, you've signed your name, you say, I agree that everything is true and accurate. You're going to review your submission. And so you'll basically be able to scroll down on this on the screen that you see here. It's what it's look like on your end, and you'll be able to scroll down and read all the information that you have input and make sure that it's true and that there aren't any errors in the information that's provided. Once you have looked over and you've reviewed the submission and you like, okay, this is absolutely true, ready to move forward, you're going to go to the top of the page and select add to cart. Once again, if you select save for later, it's going to exit out of the application and save it for a later date. If you select save template, once again, this does not mean that you're moving on to the next step. You're just saving something. When you're ready to move on to the next step of this application, select add to cart. And this will now give you the option to pay. So we will basically move on to this next screen. That says that the payment has been successful. So whatever it is that you're trying to copyright, you'll need to pay for it. And so this is just the page as to where you have submitted your payment, you add it to your cart, and you submitted your payment. It's important to note that you are not done. Once you get to that page, you're not done. You also need to do something else. And so that includes uploading the work that you want to protect. So you will see two things on the screen. I'll say three things. You see these bars going across. One says case details, and that's just the information about your case. The next says step 1, select and upload files. On the green item, you're going to select files to upload, right? And then on the blue, you're going to select start upload. So select files to upload lets you browse your device that you're using to complete this application and select what it is that you're actually trying to copyright. Once again, if you use the standard application, you're just submitting one. If you use the group, then you're selecting each of those items that you're going to copyright, each of the things that you provided the title for. And so once you've selected all your items, then you're going to press start upload. You have to press that blue start upload button in order for your files to start attaching. They will not automatically start attaching once you have selected the files and you've gotten back to this screen. You have to press the blue start upload button. Once the items have completed uploading, there will be like a little progress bar that tells you if they're done or not. Once they have completed that, you move on to step 2, and that says complete your submission. In place of that no files uploaded red button, there will be a place to complete your submission or submit it, something like that. And that's what you will select, the button that's inside of step 2. Now, once you have done that, congratulations, you're done, right? And so the process takes about 2 to 3 months in order to receive your copyright registration. If the Copyright Office has questions about your applications, they will call or email you. The final registration certificate will then be mailed to you at the address and name provided within this application. So that is pretty much what the process is like to apply for a copyright application. Once again, it's done with uscopyright.gov. You'll make your account and log in and pretty much just walk through and provide the information that they need. And so you can absolutely do this yourself. If after watching this video, you're like, you know what, this is a little bit more complicated than I thought it would be. I don't really want to take the chance and mess this up. My office can definitely help you with that. Right now, the rate that we charge is $199 per copyright application, and we can file that on your behalf. So it's completely up to you, but I hope this has helped you have a better understanding about what copyrights cover and what they protect, what the process looks like to fully register a copyright, and then what that timeline looks like after submitting the application to get full registration. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to my office, or if you actually want to hire us to complete some work for you, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for joining. And that is all for today.